Alright, bro. So I figured, kind of as an intro to GIMP, what I would do is show you something you already kind of have some experience with, and that's making tokens from portraits. So I'm going to press Control O. That's going to open it up. I use a lot of keyboard shortcuts. Man, they're worth taking the time to learn. But of course, you can also just use the menu bars to do all that shit too. Alright, going to tokens and portraits. Let me get one with no background behind him. It's Grady. Let's use Grady. What about this guy? This guy. Okay. So you see it opens it up, and you'll notice it drops it as a layer. So if you go down here, this is your layer menu, right? There's a bunch of different menus over here. You ain't gonna fuck with most of them. Layers is one of the ones you're gonna want to fuck with. So you can add new layers, and you can create a layer that's the same size, big or smaller. I always just use the same size. Transparency, white, background, foreground, all pretty, self-explanatory. I'm gonna use transparency for this one. So now I've got two layers, but what I'm first going to do is move onto this layer, and then I'm going to go up here, view, and there's a list of shit that controls some stuff, like you can show grid. Turn that off. Why did I turn the guides off? Show grid, turn that shit off. You can snap to grid. I'm going to use snap to canvas edge. Then I'm going to use the ellipse tool. You can just press the E button, do the same shit. Start at the top corner. If you look down at the bottom, down here, it tells you your sizes. So I snap to my edges. It gives me my width of 429, and so I just scale it until it is 429 by 429. Click. You got that. Control I inverts the selection, so now it's selected all this shit out here instead of the shit inside, and I press delete. You notice it all goes white. Alright, so you go over here to your layer, right click, and go down to add alpha channel. Alpha is transparent, so add an alpha channel, press delete again, poof, all gone. Then I'm going to go ahead, go up to image, crop to selection. Why the fuck didn't I? Control invert it back to the size, and then crop to selection. Boom. Okay. So now I've got two different layers. I'm actually going to use more than two, but we're starting with two. So I'm going to go up to this layer, and then you can do something that's called stroke selection. But first, what I'm going to do is go to select, and this is your select tools. So you can invert, float by color, a bunch of different shit. I'm going to shrink it, and I'm going to shrink it by about, I don't know, let's say 20. Let's see what it does. Yeah, why not? I'm not really worried about it cutting off. I mean, I would be if it was actually going to be a token, but for the sake of a tutorial, I'm not stressing it. So you still got your selection. We're on this layer now. Go to edit, and then you can scroll down to stroke selection, and that will stroke it with a line. I'm going to make my line 40. And you'll see what happens there in a minute. Do that because it centers on the line, and so it'll be 20 to one side of it, 20 to the other, and so it'll fill in that blank spot around there. Pick a color. Okay, and stroke it. Boom. Right. Like I said, not really worried about the particulars. I'm just kind of showing you how the shit goes now. The layer thing, the cool thing about this is I can just edit this now, just the circle, not fuck up the picture or anything. So I'm going to use my fuzzy selector. Right. It's this wand tool up here. You can just press U, and that selects this area inside of the red circle. Then I'm going to invert it. Right? Actually, sorry. Back that up. Before you do that, select the red layer, and then go to Filters, Decor, Add Bevel. Thickness, we're going to bump the thickness up some. So maybe 10. I think it only goes up to 15 or so. And turn off Work on Copy, because I don't want a bunch of copies popping up. Alright, you can't really tell, so you can repeat it. And if you look up here where it says repeat, whatever you just did, it'll tell you what the shortcut key is. Control F. I just press Control F a couple times till it looks like I want it to. Oops. Maybe one more time. Yeah, alright. And then you can also, this goes back to your standard palette. Say edit, stroke selection, stroke it one more time, this time with a 1, and that gives you a hard line around. So now I've got it beveled. I'm going to go back to the center, invert my selection, go back to Filters, Light and Shadow, Drop Shadow. So this is your settings. Offset X and Y it tells you how far to the left or right of your selection it's going to be. I'll set this to 0 for sometimes I'll leave it standard. Doesn't really matter for this. I'm going to boost it up a little bit. Okay, you'll see it dropped 1 in there, not very big though, so I'm going to Control Z, undo that. Control Shift F brings that back up. Let's re-show it. And then I'm going to expand this to like, 30. Do it again. See how that looks. Control F to repeat it. Yeah. You see the drop shadows adding new layers as well. I'll show you what to do with those in a minute. So yeah, then it kind of gives you that look there. And if you wanted to do it on the outside, all you would have to do is click on this as well as that. Add them both together. I'm fucking shit up over here. Anyway, excuse me if I'm rambling. I have a tendency to do that kind of shit. So now what I'm doing is I'm selecting the box, and then I'm going to go Image, Crop to Selection, gets rid of all that shit outside of there, so it's back to just the strict token. And so there is the token merged down on the drop shadows. There's like the token border, right? So I'm going to turn that off for now, because now I'm going to do something different. So let's Control Alt open. This is going to open as a layer, whatever I open up, and then I'm going to go to Pictures, Reference. I've got some bullshit in here. Actually, probably not in this. This is where I got your background from. Library. Medieval, just like different shit I'm working with or looking at for inspiration, whatever. What's this? That's not bad. I'll open that up. And then move it around till it kind of would center well. Of course, ours is going to look fucked up for this, But anyway. Move it back behind here. Right. Now, Control, invert my selection, delete all the excess, Control Z. What the fuck am I doing here? Turn that. Delete, Control Z, Control invert, delete. Okay, it needs an alpha channel as well. Delete. Boom. So there's that, right? Now on this layer, turn that off, turn that off. What I'm going to do is fuzzy select the white. Zoom in. see how it's got some pixels and shit. So fuzzy select, increase your threshold. I do it in just like 30 increments. A lot of the times it just ends up being I'll boost it up to this time to 70. See what happens. We'll tighten it up some. You'll lose some of your details, but it ends up merging a little better. Better option actually to do this. Okay, so if I was to do that, delete, zoom out, and you look at it, you see it look kind of fucked up, right? So what I'll do, Control All, so that just selects the whole layer, and then I will go to Colors, Color to Alpha, and then the white drops out to alpha. The problem is it ditches a lot of that too, see? So cancel that. Just fuzzy select, bring it up to 90. Why not? See what that brings us. Still a good bit. Turn that shit back on. 99. This will start, you get to 100 and it'll start digging into your other colors pretty majorly. That's not too bad, considering. You can also do shit like go in, select it, grow the selection by like 1 pixel, and then do it again, and it'll clean that line up a lot. But you definitely lose some details in that. If you've got like a bowstring or something like that, it'll be fucking gone. Anyway, so yeah, it's kind of a base rundown of how I do that shit. So I don't know, man, just let me know if there's anything specific you want to know on how to do this. I will make a tutorial about it. Alright, bro.